All right, strap yourselves in because today we're going deep on the Zeekr mix.
Yeah.
This electric people mover is making some serious waves, and you send over a whole stack of articles on it.
I did.
So we're going to really dissect this thing, and
Yeah, let's get into it.
it's not your average minivan.
No, it's not your average minivan at all. And it's really interesting what they're doing with this whole, like, five-seater versus MPV thing.
Right.
It seems very deliberate.
It's like they're trying to shed that minivan image.
Yeah, they don't want to be associated with soccer moms and, grocery runs.
Right, like this
This
is
is something different.
this is a statement.
Yeah, and, it works.
Yeah.
It's a cool-looking vehicle.
It's very sleek, modern, almost futuristic.
Yeah, and it's got the tech to match,
Oh, yeah.
We're talking LiDAR, high-definition cameras, millimeter-wave radars, the whole 9 yards.
All the bells and whistles.
Yeah, and it's all powered by their Heihan 2.0 driver assist system, which means this thing can pretty much drive itself on highways and city streets.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's really cool technology.
So, okay, let's bring it back down to earth for a second.
Sure.
When we talk practicality, how does it compare to something like the ID Buzz,
Right.
which is also getting a lot of attention in the EV world?
Yeah, the ID Buzz is cool, but I think the Zeekr is going for something a little more premium.
Okay.
Think like heated, ventilated, even massaging seats in the back.
Wow. Okay, so
Like a spa on wheels.
this is not the minivan of my childhood
No, not a
with the sticky vinyl seats.
No, this is a whole different ball game.
All right, so we've got luxury, but what about space?
Oh, there's plenty of space.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking a wheelbase that's longer than a Toyota Land Cruiser.
What?
Yeah, so legroom is not an issue.
Okay.
And then the front seats can swivel 270 degrees.
Really?
And the center console slides back and forth.
So you're telling me I can fit my entire yoga class in this thing?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's amazing.
They even showed a picture of someone fly fishing out of it.
Okay, now you're just showing off.
I mean, come on, that's impressive.
That's wild.
Yeah, they're really maximizing the space.
So with all this space and all these features, how do you even get in and out of this thing?
Right, well, that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Instead of your typical minivan doors,
Yeah.
the Mix has double sliding doors on the passenger side.
Double sliding doors.
Yeah, creating this massive, like 1.48-meter wide entrance.
Wow. Okay, so no more squeezing through a tiny gap.
No more awkward maneuvers, you just glide right in.
But all those doors, that makes me wonder about safety.
Right.
Is it really as safe as a traditional minivan with those pillars?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it seems like Zeekr anticipated that concern.
Okay.
They've engineered these ultra-high-strength steel pillars that are actually hidden within each door.
What?
Yeah, so you don't see them, but they're there, and they're strong.
That's incredible.
And they even did some crazy crash tests to prove it, like dropping a 2.2-ton container on the roof and simulating a side collision at 60 kilometers per hour.
Wow.
And the Mix held up really well.
So it's not just spacious and luxurious.
Nope.
It's also built like a tank.
They're not messing around.
All right, well, let's talk about the big question for any EV, the range.
Okay, range.
How far can this thing actually go on a single charge?
All right, so you've got two battery options.
Okay.
There's a 76 kilowatt-hour LFP battery that gives you a range of 550 kilometers.
Okay.
Now, that's based on the CLTC test cycle, which
Yeah.
tends to be a bit more generous than the WLTP standard you might be used to.
Right.
But still, that's a decent range.
Yeah, you could easily do a weekend road trip without breaking a sweat.
Yeah, no range anxiety there.
Okay, now what about that second battery option you mentioned?
Right, so if you need to go even further, they've got a 102 kilowatt-hour NMC battery that boasts over 700 kilometers of range.
Wow, okay, so
That's like Hangzhou to Shanghai and back, no problem.
that's a serious road trip.
Yeah, you could really get out there.
All right, so range is impressive, but what about charging?
Right?
Because nobody wants to be tethered to a charging station for hours on end.
No, nobody wants that. And with the Mix, you don't have to.
Yeah.
They've got some seriously impressive charging tech.
Right.
That LFP battery, for example, can charge from 10% to 80% in just 10.5 minutes using their 5.5C ultra-fast charging.
10.5 minutes. That's
Yeah, it's crazy fast.
faster than it takes me to get coffee.
Right. You could grab a quick snack, come back, and you're good to go.
That's wild.
Yeah, they're really pushing the boundaries with charging technology.
So we've got all this range, you've got crazy fast charging. What about the tech inside the car?
Oh, it's a tech lover's dream.
Okay, lay it on me.
Well, we already talked about the driver assist system, but there's also an AR head-up display,
Oh, cool.
which projects information onto the windshield right in your line of sight.
That's very cool.
And then there's the massive 15-inch OLED infotainment screen.
Okay, so it's like having a giant tablet on your dashboard.
Pretty much, yeah.
You're not wrong.
It's a really beautiful display.
So this car's like a rolling entertainment center.
It's pretty impressive.
But all this luxury, all this tech, it's got to come with a hefty price tag, right?
You'd think so, but actually no.
Right.
The Zeekr Mix starts at just under $39,250 in China.
That's not bad at all.
No, it's incredibly competitive for what you get.
Especially with all these features.
Yeah. And get this, 70% of Mix buyers are going for the top trim level, which is around $42,100.
Wow, so people are willing to shell out for those extra bells and whistles.
Yeah, it seems like they've really hit a sweet spot with the VIX offering luxury, versatility, and tech at a price that's actually attainable.
Yeah, they've definitely created something special here.
It's exciting to see.
But the big question is, will we see this thing outside of China?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
I guess we'll have to save that for part 2 of our deep dive.
Stay tuned.
All right, we'll be right back. So the Zeekr Mix, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
But is it just a China thing? Or could we see this thing go global?
Yeah, that's the big question. And honestly, the answer is kind of murky right now.
Okay.
They've made it clear that they have global ambitions.
Okay.
But the Mix, specifically, whether that's part of the plan, is still up in the air.
Okay, so let's take a step back.
Sure.
What are Zeekr's global ambitions overall? What are they hoping to achieve outside of China?
Well, they've already launched the Zeekr X.
Right. The compact SUV.
Yeah, in Europe.
Okay.
And they're planning to bring both the X and the 7X,
The larger SUV.
right, to Australia.
Okay.
They even signed a deal to enter the Egyptian market.
Wow. Okay, so they're not just dipping their toes in the water.
No, they're going all in.
They're diving right in.
It's a bold move.
It is a bold move, but entering new markets is never easy,
Right, especially in the EV world.
especially in that space.
Yeah, it's super competitive.
What challenges do you think they're going to face as they try to expand?
Well, I think one of the biggest ones is brand recognition.
Okay.
I mean, Zeekr is still a pretty new company. Yeah.
They're going to have to work hard to build awareness and trust in markets where they're not as well known.
So it's like starting from scratch.
Kinda, yeah. They have to introduce themselves to a whole new audience.
Right.
And that's not easy when you're going up against like the Teslas and the Volkswagens and the Hyundais of the world.
Right. They've got some pretty big competition.
Yeah, it's a David versus Goliath situation.
But David's got a pretty cool electric slingshot.
That's a good way to put it.
But I don't think we should underestimate Zeekr.
No, definitely not.
They do have some serious advantages.
They do.
I mean, they're part of the Geely Group.
Right, which gives them access to a ton of resources and expertise.
Right. And they've got these partnerships with companies like Waymo
Yeah, for self-driving tech.
and CATL for the batteries.
Yeah, they've got some heavy hitters in their corner.
So they're not exactly starting from zero.
No, they've got a good foundation.
But even with those advantages,
Yeah.
they've still got some tricky waters to navigate.
I mean, the global battery shortage,
Oh, yeah, that's a huge one.
that's a concern for all EV manufacturers.
Absolutely.
And securing a stable supply of batteries is going to be crucial for their success.
Couldn't agree more.
And that's something they can't control entirely.
No, it's an industry-wide issue, unfortunately.
So what are they doing to mitigate that risk?
Well, they're being proactive.
Okay.
They've invested heavily in their own battery tech.
Okay.
Their second-generation golden battery is achieving some really impressive charging speeds.
Right, like that 10.5-minute charge time we were talking about.
Exactly.
Like a mix.
They're not just sitting back and waiting for the problem to solve itself.
Right, they're taking matters into their own hands.
Exactly. And they're also exploring alternative battery chemistries like LFP,
Right.
which are known for being more affordable and longer lasting.
So it's all about hedging their bets.
Yeah, they're trying to stay ahead of the curve.
Okay, makes sense, but what about the political landscape? I mean, we can't ignore the potential impact of trade wars and tariffs, especially between China and the U.S.
Yeah, that's a really important point.
Right, the U.S. is a huge market for EVs.
It's the second largest in the world after China.
And cracking that market,
Yeah.
that's going to be a major challenge for Zeekr.
Absolutely, especially with the current geopolitical climate.
It's a tough market to crack, even without those added complexities.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Tesla dominates the U.S. market.
Right.
And then you've got traditional automakers like Ford and GM.
Yeah, they're all ramping up their EV efforts.
So it's a really crowded playing field.
Very crowded.
But Zeekr might have an ace up their sleeve.
Okay, that's that.
Remember that partnership with Waymo?
Oh, yeah, this self-driving thing.
Right. They're flying Waymo with robotaxis.
Right, for their ride-hailing service.
So they're already establishing a presence in the U.S.
Yeah, even if it's not with their consumer vehicles.
It's like a backdoor entry.
Exactly, and that could be a really smart move. Because by working with Waymo, they can gain experience in the U.S. market,
Okay.
build brand recognition, and potentially ease some of those political hurdles they might face down the line.
It's like a Trojan horse for the EV market.
I like that analogy.
But even if they overcome all those challenges,
Yeah.
there's one more hurdle they got to clear.
What's that?
Convincing Western buyers that a Chinese car is just as good, if not better,
Right.
than a car from a more established brand.
Yeah, that perception is still out there.
There is that Chinese cars are inferior.
In terms of quality and reliability,
Zeekr's going to have to work hard to change that.
absolutely, they're going to have to prove that their cars are just as safe,
Right.
as reliable, and as technologically advanced as anything else on the market.
They can't just compete on price.
No, they have to deliver on quality.
It's about building trust
Yeah.
and proving that they're in it for the long haul.
Right. They can't just be a flash in the pan.
What are some things they can do to build that trust?
Well, they could highlight their connection to Volvo and Polestar,
Okay.
which are both well-respected brands in the West.
Right.
They could really emphasize their advanced technology and safety features.
So it's a multi-pronged approach.
Yeah. Quality, technology, safety, and smart marketing.
It's a tall order, but it seems like Zeekr's determined to make it happen.
They definitely have the ambition and the drive.
They do. Let's shift gears for a second
All right?
and talk about something else that you flagged in your research.
Sure.
Their approach to technology and software goes way beyond just building cars.
Right.
It's almost like they're trying to create a whole ecosystem.
Yeah, that's a great observation.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, they're not just a car manufacturer.
Right.
They're aiming to be a full-fledged mobility technology company.
Okay.
They're creating this whole ecosystem around their vehicles
Okay.
with a focus on software development, autonomous driving tech,
Right.
even things like vehicle-to-grid capabilities.
Oh, hold on. Vehicle to grid. What's that all about?
So basically, it means that your Zeekr could potentially power your home during a blackout.
What?
Yeah, the car's battery can actually feed energy back into the power grid.
Wow. So it's like a giant backup generator on wheels.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing.
It's all part of their vision for a more sustainable and interconnected future of mobility.
So they're not just thinking about getting you from point A to point B.
No, they're thinking about how your car interacts with the world around it.
That's pretty forward thinking.
They're ahead of the game, for sure.
And are already putting this vision into action.
Yeah, they're expanding their charging network in China like crazy.
Okay.
They're launching innovative services like Zeekr Power,
Right.
which offers charging solutions for both home and public use.
So they're creating this seamless experience for EV owners.
Yeah, from buying the car to charging it to using it as a mobile power source.
They've really thought of everything.
It's a whole ecosystem.
But I think maybe the most interesting aspect of their tech approach is their focus on software.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You sent over some stuff about Zeekr OS.
Right, their own in-house operating system.
So it's like having a smartphone on wheels.
Exactly.
That's wild.
It manages all the car's systems, from battery management to driver assistance functions.
Okay.
And it's constantly being updated with new features and improvements over the air.
So it's always evolving.
Always getting better.
That's pretty incredible.
It's a really ambitious undertaking.
It is. I mean, building a successful operating system is no small feat.
No, it's a huge challenge.
What do you think their chances of success are?
It's hard to say for sure, but they definitely have the ambition and the technical expertise.
Okay.
I think the key is going to be attracting developers
All right.
and creating a compelling ecosystem of apps and services.
That actually enhance the driving experience.
Exactly. It's all about making Zeekr OS a platform that people actually want to use.
And if they can do that, that could potentially generate new revenue streams for them.
Absolutely, beyond just selling cars.
Right. If they can pull this off,
Yeah,
Zeekr OS could become a really valuable asset,
it could.
allowing them to generate recurring revenue from things like software subscriptions,
Right,
data services,
right.
even in-car advertising.
Yeah, there are a lot of possibilities.
So they're really playing the long game,
They're thinking ahead.
thinking beyond just the initial sale.
It's a bold strategy.
It is. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Definitely a company to watch.
All right, before we get too carried away speculating about the future,
Okay,
let's dive into this last batch of articles you sent over,
sounds good.
which focuses on Zeekr's approach to sustainability.
Right?
They seem to be going above and beyond just building electric cars.
Yeah, they're really trying to bake sustainability into every aspect of their business.
Okay, so this last batch of articles you sent over, it's all about Zeekr's approach to sustainability. And it seems like they're going above and beyond just building electric cars.
Yeah, they're really trying to integrate sustainability into like every single part of their business.
It's not just about reducing emissions from the vehicles.
No, it's the whole life cycle.
Okay.
From manufacturing to the materials they're using, even to like end-of-life recycling.
So they're thinking about the big picture.
Yeah, the whole ecosystem of sustainability.
So what are some of the things they're actually doing to achieve this?
Well, for one, they're committed to using renewable energy in their manufacturing
Okay.
processes. Their Ningbo factory, where they build the mix, is powered entirely by solar and wind energy.
Wow, so the car is literally built with clean energy.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
That's really impressive. But what about the materials they're using to actually build the cars?
Right.
Because those are often sourced in ways that are, harmful to the environment.
Yeah, and Zeekr is addressing that too.
Okay.
They're using more and more recycled and sustainable materials in their vehicles.
Okay, like what?
Well, for example, the interior fabrics in the mix are made from recycled plastic bottles.
So they're turning trash into treasure.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
But what happens to the car at the end of its life?
right.
I mean, EV batteries can be a big environmental concern
Sure.
if they're not disposed of properly.
Yeah, and Zeekr has a plan for that as well.
Okay.
They've partnered with a battery recycling company
Okay.
to make sure that those batteries are recycled responsibly.
Okay.
They're recovering valuable materials, minimizing the environmental impact.
And they're even looking at potentially using those recycled batteries for energy storage.
Right, giving them a second life.
So it's like they're thinking several steps ahead
Yeah, they're trying to anticipate problems and find solutions.
before they even become issues.
Exactly. It's a really proactive approach to sustainability.
It's great to see a company that's really taking this seriously.
It's refreshing, especially in the auto industry, which has often been kind of slow on the uptake.
Yeah, they're setting a new standard for sure.
Yeah.
But I am curious, does all this focus on sustainability come at a cost?
Right.
Are they sacrificing performance or affordability
Yeah.
to achieve these goals?
That's a good question, and from what I can see, the answer is no.
Okay.
They're proving that you can have both.
Right. You don't have to compromise.
Exactly.
I mean, the Zeekr Mix is a perfect example. It's
Well,
got all the tech. It performs well.
And it's competitively priced.
So they're not just appealing to eco-conscious consumers.
Right. They're making sustainable choices that make sense for everyone.
It's a win-win.
For sure.
They're reducing their impact while also creating products that people actually want.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't love a cool car that's also good for the planet?
Right. Exactly. Well, I have to say, I'm super impressed with Zeekr's commitment to sustainability.
Me too.
It's not just a marketing thing. It's a core part of their business philosophy.
Yeah, it seems like it's ingrained in their DNA.
It's really setting a great example for other automakers to follow.
Hopefully others will step up.
So to wrap things up, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into Zeekr.
We have.
We talked about the innovative Zeekr Mix, their global ambitions, their technological advancements, and their really impressive approach to sustainability.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. Zeekr's definitely a company that's pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the auto industry.
Yeah, they're not afraid to challenge the status quo.
And their commitment to innovation and sustainability is really inspiring.
It's a good reminder that we can do things differently.
Absolutely. And I think it's safe to say that Zeekr is a company to watch.
They're one to keep an eye on, for sure.
They're challenging conventions, embracing new technologies, and really redefining what it means to be a car company in the 21st century.
They're making waves.
And for you, our listener,
Right.
we hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights.
And maybe spark some curiosity about the future of mobility.
After all, that's what the deep dive is all about.
Helping you stay informed, engaged, and inspired by the world around us.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep those wheels turning.